Okay, the new Hoka Challenger 8 just dropped and everybody's talking about it, but I'm here to tell you to stop scrolling. There's a reason why the Hoka Challenger 7 is now just $115. It might be the smarter buy right now. Is this old model still the ultimate road to trail comfort king? Let's find out. So, if you're trying to figure out if you should grab this really good deal or invest in the latest model, stick around. We're going to dive deep into the Challenger 7's comfort, traction, overall protection, durability, versatility, give you overall scores for those categories, and give you a top score at the end. We'll also be going over its limitations so you can decide if it's still worth your money in 2025. So let's start with the Challenger 7's claim to fame, its exceptional cushioning. It's not just good, it's really good. For comfort and fit, we rated it a 9 out of 10, which is one of the top scores for our trail runners in terms of comfort. It definitely has the familiar cushioning as most Hoka shoes and boots do, the high stack height, the exceptional toe room, and just overall just a very cushy ride. My feet really sank into the footbed nice and easy, and I didn't really feel any areas of compression. I tested a men's 10.5 regular, did not upgrade to the wide size. Sometimes I upgrade to the wide size on certain models, but most Hokas tend to run wide enough for me with the regular fit, and they really fit true to size for me. Like I said, no heel discomfort, enough room for your toes in the toe box, and enough room for your toes to actually splay out in the toe box as well, which we'll get into in the stability and support section. I definitely felt the comfort was comparable to the Salomon Speed Cross 6. However, it was more of a plushness feel. However, it had a nice firm end point to it. So where the outsole was nice and firm enough for traction on the trail. So when I tried my first run in these shoes, I didn't have to do any sort of break-in period, didn't have any hot spots or blisters or anything of that sort. So it's definitely a good perk for the shoe. There is no break-in period because it's all synthetic material. The tongue, I will say, is exceptionally plush when you compare it to other trail runners. So if you have a lot of top of foot pressure or you have issues with the volume in your trail running shoes, this is definitely one to look into. The toe box, we measured it at 3.35 inches, which is definitely one of the biggest toe boxes we've actually measured on all of our trail runners. Again, your toes can splay out for a nice stable base. And the inner lining of the shoe is nice and sleek without any like scratchy overlays. Unfortunately, a lot of these Salomon trail runners have this very scratchy inside to them. This shoe particularly has a nice sleek sock liner. If I had to compare it to something out of the trail runner category, it's like the Merrell Moab 3. The sock liner is just very smooth and thin where it's not overly compressive on your foot. So if I had to compare this to the Hoka Speed Goat 6, the upper is way more comfortable. It's more flexible and conforming. It also doesn't have like a very compressive area over the top of your foot, and the sides of your feet definitely have enough voluminous fit where they're not feeling overly compressed or scrunched in. I would also add that the outsole is very bouncy as well. Look at the stack height here. It definitely has enough area for it to really compress and really take on that impact, saving your joints in the long term. The compression molded EVA midsole is truly soft, and the shock absorbing ride is significantly more plush and protective than something you'd find in like the Merrell Agility Peak 5. It really makes a huge difference on longer efforts or when you're transitioning between road to trail or trail to road, which we'll get into in a second. So whether you're cruising on pavement or hitting a gravel path, the ride is definitely consistent and very comfortable. There's not much of a huge transition when you're going from uneven terrain to very flat terrain like asphalt or concrete. So definitely a great versatile trail running shoe that you can also use as a running shoe at the same time. So overall is one of our top rated trail runners for comfort. Like we said, it definitely keeps on its promise of outstanding comfort, reducing the impact, and definitely keeping your legs feeling fresher on the trail. By the way, if you're interested in the Challenger 7, remember the price often dips below $115 than the original $155. There's a link down below in the description where I found them for $115 for a sale. So check out that link. It definitely helps the honest reviews keep on coming. Traction wise, we rated it at 8.5 out of 10. It does not have the Vibram Mega Grip outsole, unfortunately, as most Hoka trail runners do. The Vibram outsole is a very premium outsole. I'm sure a lot of people have heard me talk about this on the channel before. It has the Dura Abrasion outsole, which is much lighter. However, I would say it's not as durable as the Vibram Mega Grip. The lugs are 4 millimeters and well spaced apart. It does very well on light to moderate terrain as well as asphalt, like I was talking about when you transition to that flat terrain. However, on technical terrain and very uphill, uneven terrain, it does not do the best because it is so soft and flexible. So when you're on that uneven terrain, look how flexible this shoe is. If you're trying to hold against a surface that's uneven, it's going to conform to it. Unfortunately, you're going to slip and lose that traction. So definitely not a great upgrade if you're looking for something to take on technical trails. I would not recommend these for technical trails only. The only other area where I didn't really excel in the traction was wet terrain. I had some slipping, especially on sandstone and snow when I was testing these in the winter. It does very good on dry terrain. Like I said, the outsole and the lugs are not stiff enough to withstand uneven and wet terrain. However, versatility is where the Challenger 7 really separates itself apart from the pack. The smooth transition from trail to road or road to trail definitely directly leads to its versatility. Many hybrid shoes fall short, either being too clunky on the road or too flimsy for the trail. The Challenger 7 definitely strikes a remarkable balance. The cushioning outsole and design means you can comfortably log miles on asphalt and easily seamlessly turn to the trail, dirt path, anything else you want to get on. So it definitely makes it ideal for a daily trainer for runners who have varied routes or for those looking to transition from road to trail or using it just literally as a running shoe and a trail running shoe at the same time. Now, for the critical honesty that often gets left out of most reviews, despite its comfort and versatility, the Challenger 7 is not for everybody. Like I said, it does have some trade-offs. Primarily one is the Durabrasion outsole. Like I said, it gives excellent grip on mixed terrain, but however, when you get to that more severe technical terrain, the softer rubber compound definitely cannot keep up to something like that has like the Vibram Mega Grip out. Also, with this being much lighter, you'll see it wear much quicker than other outsoles, unfortunately. So if you tend to use it on a more aggressive, harder terrain, then it's just going to wear out much quicker. So definitely if you're a hardcore technical trail runner, you live for those gnarly ascents, those rocky descents, or you're an ultra runner who's looking for bomb-proof durability, the Challenger 7 is not your best bet. It simply won't offer the same level of aggressive grip you honestly need and looking for. Stability and support-wise, we rated it at 8.5 out of 10. It has a very wide base here in the forefoot that aids in that forefoot stability. However, the torsional stability in terms of the forefoot, look how flexible it is here, definitely does not help you out in terms of your forefoot stability. So there's a little trade-off there. You got a nice wide base, which is going to help you out, but the torsional stability in the forefoot is not great. When it comes to the upper, it definitely hugs my foot without creating any sort of compression or basically causing any blisters, anything of that sort, as other trail runners tend to do. But it definitely secures my foot in place and doesn't allow any internal movement, which is what you want in terms of stability and support. And I would say the great part about the upper of the shoe is it doesn't compromise on the comfort. Unfortunately, as a lot of trail runners tend to do, they really compress your foot and cause those blisters, which is great for stability, but again, not great for the comfort. However, when it comes to the hindfoot stability, the heel counter stiffness is pretty exceptional for a pretty soft, comfortable trail runner. So if you're somebody who definitely doesn't do well in terms of your hindfoot with stability, this is definitely a great model to look into. Now, regarding the ankle support and stability, one thing I didn't like is see how the ankle cuff tends to come out as a more straight line rather than come up over your ankle malleoli and give you that better ankle stability. I'm getting very nitpicky here, but I wish they brought up that ankle cuff just a little bit higher so it give you that extra ankle support you need. The heel definitely comes up a lot higher than most trail runners do. So when you're going up terrain, you definitely have a great pushback on your heel here, which is pretty good. Regarding the heel to toe drop, I measured it at 5 millimeters, which is great for me because I'm more of a midfoot striker. Overall, the Challenger 7 was able to strike a nice, meaningful balance between support and stability while not giving into the comfort area. So definitely, like I said, if you're on mild to moderate terrain, this is an excellent choice because you get that stability and support you need without sacrificing the comfort. Weight, we rated it 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely one of the more lighter trail runners we've tested. So our men's 10.5 weighed in at 10 ounces flat. This is the non-waterproof model. So just to go over that real quick, a lot of trail runners have the Gore-Tex membrane, which is obviously a waterproof membrane, and the price is about $25 more, and you tend to lose some more breathability with the shoe because of that membrane. So one thing I would say is a lot of people tend not to need that Gore-Tex membrane for waterproofness because they never really cross any wet streams, creeks, or tend to run in the snow or even light rain or anything of that sort. So if you're looking to save a few extra bucks, I would definitely look into the non-waterproof version because like I said, most people get the waterproof version because they're like, I guess I could just use it when I need it. But then they end up really never needing the waterproof version. So again, it reduces the breathability. It's more expensive. So I definitely do an audit of all the trails that you do and see if you really need that waterproof membrane. Anyways, if you get the Gore-Tex version, it's probably going to be about 1 ounce heavier per shoe. So compare this to the Hoka Speedgoat 5, it laid in at 11 ounces. So these are about the same weight if you had the Speedgoat 5 in previous versions. So it's definitely a good comparable model to this. So overall, I just thought Hoka really kept the ultra lightweight of the Trail Runner, the previous model, while upping the performance at the same time, because the Challenger 6 definitely didn't have as good as performance as the Challenger 7. Overall protection, we rated it a 7 out of 10. So it does not have a rock plate for the extra protection, and then add a very soft outsole. It's not the best combination. So that being said, the stack height obviously really helps you cushion from the rock hard, uneven ground, which is a trade-off, obviously, for those looking for feedback on the ground and getting a nice ground feel while you're running. So it's definitely a nice even point for protection. There's a nice rubber toe cap here protecting you from rock kicks or anything of that sort. I wish it was wider and a little bit more robust because look how my thumb can easily press this in. So definitely would want more protection coming out wide and just a little bit more stiffness and robustness over here. So the sides are obviously very flimsy. The upper is very breathable for summer trail running, but not the best for overall protection. So you can get some rips here. I personally haven't experienced any of that, but I know a lot of people have ran into that issue with the Challenger 7. So for a soft outsole and no rock plate, it's definitely not the best for overall protection. But again, that's for the more technical trail runner for what they are looking for. Durability, we rated it a 6.5 out of 10. So I definitely have some durability concerns when it comes to the Challenger 7. That soft outsole will begin to wear over time, especially if you use it on terrain you're not supposed to. A lot of people really complained about the wearing of the lugs since they're only 4 millimeters in depth, so they can tend to wear a lot quicker. I personally haven't noticed any wear after taking this for over 50 miles, but I will say if you take these for over 100, people have reported that they begin to lose some of the bounciness and cushiness of that midsole, which is expected for something that has such a high stack height over time. This outsole is just going to begin to wear and flatten out slightly. Overall, the more comfortable trail runners tend to lose their durability over time more than the technical trail runners that are made for stability and support. Beware of the durability issues with the Challenger 7. Again, for most mild to moderate terrain runners, they're not going to be out all the time putting on a million miles on this shoe. So it would bode well for you, even with the durability concerns. It's just something to keep in mind. All right, let's go over price and value. The $115 question brings us to the elephant in the room. With the new Challenger 8 out, the 7 is now retailing for around $115, down from its original $155, which the Challenger 8 is now. So whether the question is worth it truly comes in at its original price of $150. It was definitely a solid, comfortable hybrid, but at $115, it becomes an exceptional value for the runner it's designed for. You're getting Hoka's signature cushioning, impressive road to trail versatility, and a comfortable ride for a price point that's usually reserved for more basic trail shoes. It allows more runners to experience the premium comfort without the full premium investment, especially if your typical routes don't involve extreme technical terrain. So should you skip the new Hoka Challenger 8 for the 7 instead? For a specific type of runner, my resounding answer is yes. If you want a trail shoe that can transition from road to trail very easily, and especially if you're not tackling ultra distances or very technical terrain, then the Challenger 7 at $115 is an absolute steal. It's a fantastic daily trainer, a comfortable option for longer, less aggressive trail runs, and a perfect entry point into Hoka's plush cushioning philosophy without breaking the bank for the latest model. You get that premium feel price for something that's definitely a budget price now. So overall, we rated the Challenger 7 an 8.3 out of 10. So thank you guys for listening. Like I said, there's links down below in the description where you can get these for a discount. Also, don't forget to check out mountaineerjourney.com where you can see our latest reviews, comparisons, and best of guides. And you can see the full written review of the Challenger 7 on there as well. Also, don't forget to please like and subscribe for the channel because we have a bunch more content coming out this summer. Thanks again.